If you look through your notes app or your old school planners, you'll probably find a list that looks something like this: get straight A's, save money, eat healthier, learn to play guitar. We all write these kinds of lists. Usually it happens late at night when we're feeling a sudden burst of motivation. It feels good to write them down because for a second it feels like we've actually accomplished something just by planning it. But then Monday morning arrives. You're tired, you have a mountain of homework, your room is a mess, and that list suddenly feels like an impossible task to accomplish. By Thursday, you've forgotten about it entirely. There's a common assumption that when we fail to hit our goals, it's because we lack discipline or willpower. We tell ourselves we're just lazy, but behavioral science shows that the problem usually isn't the person. It's the way the goal was structured in the first place. Today, we're going to look at why standard goal setting fails, how to build a system that actually fits your daily life, and how to make progress even when motivation feels completely dry. Welcome to episode 2 of Progress Over Perfect. This is a space for students and young adults who want to organize their lives, build better habits, and reduce stress without dealing with toxic productivity or unrealistic expectations. No intense motivational speeches here, just practical data-backed strategies that make sense for the real world. In our last episode, we talked about why self-development matters and how flexible your brain is right now. Today, we're going to take the next logical step: setting goals that work. We're going to break down the massive difference between a wish and a goal and look at neurological reasons why our brains resist vague plans and map out a realistic framework for turning your intentions into actual progress, whether you're trying to figure out how to pull your algebra grade up, save up for a car, or just stick to a basic skincare routine. The principles we're discussing today apply across the board. To build a strategy that works, we first need to distinguish between a wish and a goal. Saying, "I wish I was more confident" or "I want to save money" isn't a goal. It's a preference. It's an outcome you desire, but it contains zero instructions on how to get there. A goal, on the other hand, is a specific roadmap. It shifts from a passive state of hoping things change to an active state of execution. When you don't have clear goals, your brain defaults to what is easiest and most comfortable in the moment, which usually means scrolling through your phone or putting off hard tasks. A famous study conducted by Dr. Gail Matthews at the Dominican University of California looked at the mechanics of goal achievement. The research found that individuals who wrote down their goals, created specific action plans, and shared weekly updates with a supportive peer were over 40% more likely to achieve them compared to those who just kept their goals as thoughts in their heads. Writing a goal down and giving it structure moves it from an abstract idea into a concrete objective. But why do so many well-intentioned goals fail within the first 2 weeks? Usually it's because we set goals based on how we feel during high-energy moments instead of designing them for low-energy days. If you set a fitness goal to run 5 miles every morning when you're currently not running at all, you're setting a trap for yourself. The moment you experience a poor night's sleep or a stressful day at school, the friction of that massive goal becomes too high. Your brain rejects it, and you abandon the plan entirely. How do we design goals that survive our worst, most exhausted days? We do it by applying proven behavioral frameworks. The first step is shifting away from vague outcomes and moving towards specific actions. According to goal setting theory, a foundational psychological framework documented heavily by the American Psychological Association, or the APA, specific and challenging goals lead to significantly higher performance than vague, do your best statements. Instead of setting a goal to get organized, define the exact behavior. For example, your goal could be, "I will spend 5 minutes every Sunday night clearing off my desk and writing my assignments in my planner." Instead of learning a new skill like guitar, make it, "I will practice one chord progression for 10 minutes after school." By narrowing the scope, you remove the mental fog of not knowing where to start. The second step is managing the cognitive load. When a goal is too massive, your brain experiences cognitive overload and treats the task as a threat, which triggers avoidance. Research from Harvard University Center on the Developing Child on Executive Functioning emphasizes that breaking large, complex objectives down into small sequential steps is essential for managing cognitive load and managing focus. If your goal is to save $500 for a summer trip, that number can feel incredibly distant and overwhelming if you don't have a job. But if you break it down into a micro step, like saving $15 a week by bringing lunch from home 2 days a week, or doing an odd job for a neighbor, the task becomes manageable. You're no longer staring at a $500 mountain. You're just looking at $15 a step. Third step is using if-then planning. One of the most effective tools in behavioral psychology is a concept developed by researchers at New York University called implementation intention, or more simply, if-then planning. Most people fail their goals because they wait for the perfect moment to take action. If-then planning removes the decision-making process by creating an automatic trigger. For example, if it is 4 p.m. on a weekday, then I will open my chemistry textbook and review one page. Or, if I brush my teeth at night, then I will immediately apply moisturizer for my skin. You are hijacking an existing part of your day and using it as a launchpad for your new goal. As you start reframing your goals, it is important to watch out for 3 major structural mistakes that almost everyone makes. The first one is a multi-goal overload. The most common mistake is trying to change 5 different areas of your life at the same time. You decide you're going to fix your grades, your fitness, your sleep schedule, and your savings all in the same week. Willpower is a limited resource. When you spend it across too many changes, you deplete your energy quickly. Pick one primary goal to focus on at a time. Once that behavior becomes an automatic habit, you can safely add the next one. The second most common mistake is focusing on the outcome instead of the system. If you only focus on the final outcome, like a specific number on a report card or a certain weight in the gym, you are focusing on something you cannot completely control today. You can control the system. You can't force an exam to be easy, but you can control whether you use flashcards for 15 minutes the night before. Focus on the inputs and the outputs will take care of themselves. Final mistake is giving up when progress feels slow. Real growth is rarely linear. You might work hard on a goal for 2 weeks and see 0 visible results. Your skin doesn't instantly clear up after 3 days of a skincare routine. Your grades don't jump from a C to an A after 1 afternoon of studying. The self-determination theory is a prominent psychological framework developed at the University of Rochester, and it shows that long-term motivation relies heavily on a sense of competence, the feeling that you are getting better at something. When progress feels slow, you have to find competence in the action rather than the result. Celebrate the fact that you showed up and did the work regardless of whether the final outcome has shown up yet. That consistency is where real transformation begins. This brings us to our challenge of the week. Let's take these concepts out of your headphones and put them into practice over the next 7 days. Your assignment this week is to create a single system goal. Pick one area you genuinely want to improve right now. It could be your grades, your fitness, your organizational skills, or a personal hobby. Write down one micro goal for it using the if-then framework. Make it so small it takes less than 10 minutes to complete. Track your execution, not your perfection. If your goal is to review flashcards and you only do it for 3 minutes instead of 10, count it as a win. You kept the path open in your brain. If you completely miss a day, don't waste energy feeling guilty. Just make sure you don't miss 2 days in a row. Thank you for tuning into episode 2 of Progress Over Perfect. Taking a couple minutes out of your day to think critically about how you operate is a massive step in self-development, and you should give yourself credit for that. If you found today's episode helpful, make sure you like and subscribe, and consider sharing it with a classmate or a friend who might be tired of the usual unrealistic productivity advice. Don't worry about having a flawless week, and stop waiting for the perfect moment to start. Just focus on making a little bit of progress today. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you next week.